Hi, I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the November 12th, 2019 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Yesterday we were looking at Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16, and we're back there again to mine more of those depths. You remember that Paul was talking to the very cosmopolitan Ephesian church, and he was telling them to make the most of the time. And we talked about that making the most of means to optimize, to redeem. We were talking about what all that means. But today, I want to focus on the word time. We've talked many times on this program about the richness of the Greek language and how it has such an ability to pinpoint the exact right word, the exact crystallized meaning that someone is trying to get across much more effectively than, say, English. And here is another example of that. The word that is being defined or translated as time is actually the Greek word kairos. Now, what's interesting is that there are two words for time in the Greek language. One is chronos, from which we get chronology, and it means the step by step time, clock time, if you will. But then there's kairos. And kairos is more like the season, the appropriateness. For example, if I were to say, watch the time, we're about to be late, the word would be chronos. But if I say, this is a time for rejoicing, then that would be kairos. Interestingly, the word that Paul uses here, where he is telling us to optimize our time, is not chronos, it is kairos. So this is not primarily telling you to have good time management skills, although we know that being wise, which is the whole point of this passage, how do you live wisely? There is something to be said for being good stewards of our time. I teach that all the time, don't I, in my stress and time management classes. But that's not what Paul is primarily getting at here. He's saying we should optimize the seasons, the appropriateness of a moment. You know, we talk about this, don't we? We talk about that moments have significance. I was telling my Sunday school class that, if you really thought about the moments in your life that have made the biggest impact, the strongest memories you have, and you were to put all of those moments together, they probably wouldn't be more than a few minutes long, maybe even one or two. It's not the amount of breaths that you take, but the number of moments that take your breath away is something that you've often probably seen. And there's a truth to that. A moment in time can carry a significance far beyond the chronos, the kairos of that moment. It might be just a word or two that someone says to you. It might be a split second of a look. It might be just a few moments of being recognized for something. It's amazing to me, but honestly, the things that make the biggest impression, the moments, the time, the kairos that mean the most, usually are not very significant chronos, but boy, do they pack a punch. You've probably also understood this idea in a slightly different context. Some of you who are study the humanities may know the word zeitgeist, which is a word meaning the spirit of the age or the time of the age. We talk about the Enlightenment and the zeitgeist of the Enlightenment being looking for ideas and not being stymied by old superstitions. We think about the zeitgeist or the spirit of the age of Romanticism in the 19th century. We talk about the zeitgeist or the mindset, the time of postmodernism. All of this is necessary to understand if you're going to understand wisdom. And how do you apply information and data and even good principles to the time, kairos, in which we live? How am I so certain that that's the way Paul means for us to see this and not just as good time management advice? Because of the end of that verse. He says that we should do this, we should optimize our kairos because the days are evil. That's not time management, my friends. That's understanding where we are in the scheme of history. And when days are evil, when things are conspiring against God, then you know you have to make the most of every opportunity, not just every minute, every rotation around the sun, every day, but every opportunity, every zeitgeist, every kairos. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of The Bible Delight in the Details. Have a great night.